I have perhaps a reputation on the dark side of the metal scene, at least locally in Finland, for being a part of canceling shows and taking action in that sense. I hate to say the word cancel. I haven't canceled a single show. I've just been like in the middle of a cancellation, sharing my thoughts with or passing a message with a club owner about the background of a certain artist. That's come to light to me from a different promoter in a different venue, telling me that, hey, venue you're working with booked the same tour and we're canceling the tour because of this and all that. But I'll spare the details because these are fresh things. I'm just saying that no matter what the backlash may have been bad from the people booking that show with me, I still have a clear conscience about those things because I'm 100% anti-fascist and anti-racist and anti-bully. So I don't have a tough time saying that out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Bleeding Metal podcast. I'm Kiki, your host. My pronouns are she, her. And today I'm bringing you a new episode of the Pod Friends series, which is the episodes of the podcast where I bring my friends over to introduce them to you because they do super cool things. We are not recording remotely as usual. We are here in Helsinki at Cool Head Brew. And we will talk about that later. But first of all, please introduce yourself.
Hi, yeah, honored to be here. I'm Sami Silvennoinen. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a booking agent and a festival promoter from Finland, originally from Helsinki, from really close to this place, actually, of Cool Head Brew. This is one of the places I love the most in the world.
It's a really cool place.
Yeah, I'm just going to be honest with you, like throughout. Yeah.
That's good. The way we start these type of episodes is we tell the story of how we met, like why you are a friend of the podcast, and then you tell me your life story. So this is going to get very interesting.
Oh, you shouldn't warn me. We met at a music industry conference in Oslo just this year, this spring. Of course, you meet a lot of new faces. We'd been in touch via email because of a show that I organized in Helsinki, with the show with Soen and Vulcan and Xandria.
Yeah. And I have a really cool story with Xandria, I have told you, I think.
Yeah, you have, but you should tell everyone else.
I should tell everyone else.
Yeah.
If you're a long-time listener of the podcast, you probably know, but back in 2010, when the first and original singer of Xandria left the band, I actually auditioned to be the next Xandria vocalist, and that didn't work out. But since then, I kept following the band, and when I saw that they were playing here, I had to go. That's why I emailed you. But yeah, then we met in Oslo through people from Latin America, actually, because I was super excited to be all the way in Norway at this metal conference. And all of a sudden, I listened to people speaking Spanish, but not only Spanish, Ecuadorian Spanish around me. And I was like, excuse me, who are you? Turns out they were people that I had met in Ecuador ages ago, but didn't really have contact with. And all of a sudden we were meeting up in Oslo. So that was super cool. And they introduced me to other Latin American people from the industry. And one of them was your friend.
Yeah, I'd met him. We worked together with Mawija coming to Finland and about a conference that I'm doing over there. So we had a good talk with him, and it was cool to meet you there face to face. And we kind of hit it off quickly about topics that you talk about on your podcast. It was cool to meet somebody who's vocal about problems within the industry, problems that I'm not necessarily as vocal about as I should, but I feel like we are like-minded in many ways about that. After we talked, you asked me to be a guest at your podcast. I was obviously thrilled.
Yes.
There we go. That's how we met.
And that's why you're here, which is so cool. Because you are not only a booker, promoter, and now festival organizer, you are also a musician yourself.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into that. Where did you grow up? How was your childhood? How present was music in your life and in your family?
I grew up in Helsinki. That's how it's pronounced. And in Oulunkylä neighborhood. So a really typical Helsinki family of 5 people. 2 brothers. Music, we took guitar classes when I was 8 years old or something. I quit when I was 12 because I realized that this is classical guitar. It's not as cool as the electric. Because, when you turn 12, you're only thinking about things that, or at least I did. I thought about how to be cool, how to belong or something. And that wasn't my image of it. So I quit playing, but all of us, both my brothers also started an instrument when they were young. And I guess that came from the fact that our grandfather was a professional musician, playing the violin and the accordion. And although we weren't that close to him, I think it's more in the genes that both me and my younger brother are musicians, or at least part-time musicians, both working in the music industry, in fact.
So are you the older brother?
I'm the middle
Okay.
brother. So I have an older brother who's 2 years older than me and a younger who's 3 years younger. So we're pretty tightly knit. Then at the age of 14, I think, with my best friend back at that time, we watched the film This Is Spinal Tap. As we were 14, we didn't completely realize that this is a fictional story. So we were like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a band and one day they'd make a documentary like that about us, like about all the foolishness we'd fill up. And I started listening to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and there we go. So I had a band when I was a teenager. We were fairly popular in the youth center scene of Helsinki when we were 16, 17. The band was called Evertrack. And then we played, I don't know, 20, 30 shows a year.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of shows. Because that back then, Helsinki had a lot of those youth centers in different neighborhoods. There were places for kids to hang out, for teenagers mostly, and there would be ping pong tables and computers and that stuff. But there would also be a stage with a full backline and PA system, which made it possible for us, who didn't obviously have a car or anything, but it still made it possible for us to play shows every week. And our friends obviously could go there because the tickets were for free, because it was like city funded action. And now that I look back at it 20 years ago, all that has changed, because they're cutting the funding and losing those local places, and instead they have like bigger youth centers in central locations, which I think is a really bad turn of events. But that's another story. I'm just saying that I was fortunate enough to live in Helsinki
At that
20 years
moment in
ago,
time.
at that moment in time, because that made it possible for me and my friends and everyone my age who wanted to play an instrument. It made it easy to get shows, to meet fellow musicians, to be able to express ourselves through music, even at a young age. Shortly after we turned 18, then we just like broke up, as bands do. I mean, it was a heavy metal band, obviously, like really Iron Maiden sounding heavy metal band. I was the vocalist. And then one day, our guitar player, who was the motor of the band, made most of the songs. He came in and was like, maybe we should cover this Eppu Normaali song. And for those of you who don't know, that's old people's music. That's like the Dire Straits of Finland.
Hey, the Dire Straits are cool.
Yeah. But it's like basically like a really big turn to another direction. And then shortly after, he started playing in a funk rock band, which was great, obviously, but it was really far from what we started. Two guys in the band, we started a new band shortly after, which was, I believe, to be the first gent band in Finland. We just never released any songs. We were like on MySpace listening to Periphery and like the first versions of Tesseract, like Fell Silent and all, and listening like, okay, we're going to do this stuff. And then we recorded an EP and never released it because I didn't write the lyrics.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was my fault.
Yeah.
That's why the gent scene in Finland is so weak.
Because you never started.
The pioneers never released anything. But those demos would be worth a million now, right? And it just kind of slowly died. Bands do when nothing happens. We played 2 shows with different names, that kind of stuff. At that point, I was always serious about singing. I was a vocalist in those bands, and I always thought when I grow up, I'm going to be the lead vocalist of a successful band or something, because that was always the mission. And then it didn't happen, and I was fine with that for a while. And I had a post-rock band at some point. I was playing the bass in that and singing, and we did 1 show and released 1 song, and it just didn't work out because you need many people in the band. We were 4 people with different ambitions about music. For some, maybe it was a really great way to spend time with friends. For me, it was always something that, we released the first song, and I was immediately contacting booking agents and promoters like, yeah, we can support this band and this band and this band. So my ambition was always bigger than us, and also bigger than my talent, really, to be fairly honest. So that didn't work out. But then eventually I started a band called Durantti, released the first song in 2017. We just celebrated the 10th anniversary of the band.
Yes.
To a nearly fully packed cult venue in Helsinki. Played a 2-hour set in front of people who paid to get in and wanted to be there. And we sold 98 t-shirts during that one night.
What?
So this makes it sound like it's really popular. It's not. I could lie. I mean, this is in English. Nobody's going to really know. That's a really local band, really. But it's not about getting success. It's about realizing that we've been able to keep this group of friends together for 10 years, making music, putting our time and effort and making music together, releasing it to the people who are interested or not interested in hearing it, but still like pulling all these stunts and marketing and promoting it and all that. And I just realized that I've never had such good friends for such a long time, and I've never had such a serious hobby.
That's amazing, because it also sounds like you fulfilled your childhood dream of being the vocalist of a successful band. And success is, you have to define it yourself. Every one of us has to define it by ourselves. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad
you
to.
did
Thank
play
you.
Tosca last year.
Yeah, and we played Tosca twice. And the first time we played it was in 2018, and we played the main stage. And that was 6 months before we released the first album. At that point, sky was the limit. It was like, wow, what the fuck? But we were opening the main stage. There were like 12 people in the audience, and half of them my family members.
It's the main stage.
Yeah, I mean, it was really generous of the promoter. He did that back those times. He would like pick one kind of up and coming band and just throw them in the deep end and see how it works out. Bands like Brumir have done that. They've been opening Tosca main stage way before they became popular. I think last summer Horizon Ignited did that, and they're still on the way to the top where they will be eventually. And, well, I don't know if we did, but it was a cool story to tell that we played Tosca main stage before we released the first album. And I don't know, maybe it says a lot, but we played the smallest stage last year after our third album. So it was fun. It was one of the best shows we've done. Helsinki is our hometown. Even in a festival like Tosca, like the fourth stage where we played it, and the capacity is only 450 people because it's an indoor venue, Tiivistämön. So you kind of expect that at a festival with an attendance of 20,000+ people, at least 450 people will show up. And they did. But it was like surprisingly nice to see that there were, just like in our 10th anniversary show, there were plenty of people who followed us throughout the years and supported us. So
that's beautiful.
Even at a festival. So that was really nice.
And at what point in this story of your musicianship did you become interested in the rest of the music business?
Yeah, I start with like, oh, these things happened to my band out of coincidence. No, when I was 20 years old, I started working in the music industry, and I have been ever since. So that's 17 years now, except for a summer job in cleaning and an even earlier summer job in refereeing football. My only jobs ever have been in music and events. So in that sense, I've been really fortunate to be able to get my foot in the door for what I could call my dream job, because I've always been enthusiastic about music, especially metal. And I've always been enthusiastic about events and bringing people together in cool locations. And even though like it was a rocky road to get to where I am now, which is still halfway somewhere, but still it's a good place to be. Actually, this is going to make everything sound worse that I just said about my band playing in Tosca, but my first workplace was Tosca Festival back in 2010. I was an intern at the festival, working right under Niklas Nuppola, who's still working at Tosca. He was my first boss, great at that job, really great, and a great person. So was Hanna Kuosmanen back then, the head of production and festival. I learned a lot from them. And obviously Jouni Markkanen, who's still the promoter, was a promoter back then as well. I started to learn from the best. And even though my time with Tosca was really brief, I continued to freelance for them over the next years. Meanwhile, finishing my studies at University of Applied Sciences to become an arts manager. So I have an education to this, and I worked in numerous places. At one point I said that I worked all the fields in the music industry except for a tech production company. Because I worked at a label, at booking agencies, I've been importing instruments, working in the marketing of an import company, basically, and festivals. I've worked at rock clubs. I've been a tour manager. I've been doing PR. It may sound like all I do is work. It's not. Those are really brief moments in time that I've been doing all those things. And as the industry is not too wealthy, I believe most people who still work in the industry have a similar background,
Mm.
that they were kind of trying out all these things, getting 100 euros here and there to like make a living.
I think this is one of the very few, probably, industries where the people working in it, doing the business side, doing the administration and organization, are also musicians at heart.
Mm.
Or that's their other job. And so the passion and the motivation to do all this work is so full in their being that it makes it so rewarding. It's just so cool to meet that kind of people that have this motivation very intrinsic and all of this passion and bring it to the table. It's not like people who go to, and nothing wrong with it, but going to your 9 to 5 and then disconnecting from that to live your real life, so to speak. I don't know. I compared it to like maybe doctors or veterinarians or, people who love animals that much since they were kids, grow up to help other people, grow up to do that from the core of their being and love, but it's still different.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's especially different to other types of, as I was saying, office jobs.
It is a job like any other, I guess, and I'm happy to be doing what I do. I mean, I don't think that many people really dream about a job in music, but instead they maybe dream about playing great concerts with their band, playing great shows, playing a festival stage one day. I'd be happy to tell everyone the secret that it doesn't feel that special. Like once you've done it, it's great. It's a goal. It's fantastic at that point, but then it's gone. And then you're hungry for the next goal, just like with anything else competitive. Yeah. And it's not supposed to be competitive, but if we sell 100 tickets and fill a venue of that capacity, it's a sold out venue for 100 people, but we're not thinking like, that's about it then. Well, yeah, we're finished. Then again, we're like, oh, fucking hell. I wish we played at On the Rocks because the capacity is 350. Like we should fill that place up. And then I guess it's in every other, like any other sport in that sense. Like you don't start it to compete it, you start it because it's fun. And then at some point you realize that there needs to be goals to make it feel like exciting and you're progressing. Yeah. And like climbing the fucking corporate ladder of the Finnish music industry, if I took it too seriously, I'd be gone now. I mean, I'd be done because just like, anything else in life, really, it's not necessarily about like who's the most talented, but the fact that when I got my first internship, it was with Tuska Festival, who that spring had sort of apparently forgotten to hire an intern. So when I applied really late, they were happy to give me the job because nobody else had applied. So I was really lucky to get started with that and meeting those people who have been really helpful in helping my career out in the past 17 years. Ever since, I've been fortunate to meet those people and then be able to do what I do.
And another thing you do is another probably dream of every musician and or person in the industry is have their own festival.
Yeah, that's a really expensive dream. I gotta say, I've been working at different festivals. I've been doing booking for some of them as well, but none of those have been my own. So when Marko Nikulov, a colleague of mine from Alt Agency and the venue Olympia in Tampere, he texted me one day like, hey, I might have an idea because he knows my musical taste and I know his. He told me about his idea, like, hey, there should be this Prague post-rock festival, but there's no such thing in Finland or the Nordics for that matter. And I was like, fuck yes, finally, because I just started my own company, Nahka Agency, so I was sort of free to do what I wanted. I would have needed to ask my boss in my old job, but now we could. And then when he asked me to work on this festival, it just so happened that 4 years earlier, I had drafted a festival that would have taken place in Helsinki. The working title was the Pain Factory Festival. It would have taken place at the train factory area in Pallila in Helsinki. And it would have been a prog metal festival with 2 indoor stages and 1 outdoors. And I drafted that during COVID, but it just lasted longer than expected. That festival didn't happen back then, but I still had the draft, which had quite a few artists that are in the ANKEA festival lineup of 2026.
Damn.
So it was really fortunate. I wouldn't have made it happen if Marko didn't ask me, and maybe he wouldn't have made it happen if I didn't already had thought about. Yeah.
That's so cool. And that's how ANKEA was born.
That's how ANKEA was born. That was in early 25. Now we're in April 26. We're just 6 weeks till the first edition of ANKEA Festival, which is going to take place in Tampere, Finland.
Who are the headliners?
Oh, yeah. Headliners we got Katatonia to play the 20th anniversary set of their best album, A Great Cold Distance. And apparently it's an exclusive set because they haven't announced it anywhere else in the world.
Nice.
That's cool. But due to legal bounding agreements, we can't say that in our marketing. They're headlining Saturday and Friday. We have Lepros. For prog metal lovers, I think it's a solid lineup. We also got Isan coming from Norway, which is great. We have Oranssi Pazuzu, then a couple of post-rock bands that haven't played Finland that much, like This Will Destroy You and God is an Astronaut. And then it's an international lineup. We got 21 bands from 10 different countries.
I'm going to ask you the question I asked you in Oslo as well. How many women are on your lineup?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 21, 5 of which are female fronted. Or female artists. And that's the number this year. We're currently booking our 27th edition, so the second edition of the festival, and we'd be happy to see more.
I'd be very, very happy to see more. I will introduce you to an initiative called Book More Women out on Instagram that leaves out all of the bands that are only made of men. And so your beautiful poster looks very empty.
Yeah.
It's very funny. But you do have Vermilia, you have A.A. Williams. A.A. Williams is coming to the podcast the next episode after this one already. And I'm really looking forward to talking to her as well. So
and you should be.
Not a bad job for your very first lineup of your very first festival.
Thank you. I feel embarrassed now, though.
It's all right. It can only get better now.
Yeah. I mean,
now you know there's people like me pressuring.
Yeah. But that's cool. This is just like any other festival. Not every festival, but this is a small festival run and booked by 2 white cis males. What can I do? But make it better. Listen to people like you. Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is what I loved about our first meeting was that you confronted me about this. And I like being challenged about these things because I don't want to defend myself because I agree with you. So it's good to be called out in that sense because it's like, yeah, I can talk about equality. And then it just doesn't happen at my own festival.
That's it, people. In metal, we really need to do the walk as much as we talk the talk of being the most inclusive, most welcoming, most open-minded community. We say that a lot and we don't always do that. And I confronted everyone else the same way.
Yeah, you did.
I was very kind and very calm, but I did ask everyone, how many women, how diverse is your lineup? We need more diverse lineups because representation is the only way how we can see actual diversity and actual equality at some point. So it's actually really important. And yes, that was why we kept talking so much, because you are also very choosy in a positive way with who you work with. And I think we need to talk about that as well.
I guess so. I mean, this is your podcast. There's a camera pointed at my face and I'm wearing a mic. So you can just cross-examine me.
You don't have to answer all of my questions, but I do think it's really important to talk about things. Not only the metal scene, but society talks so much about cancel culture. We had a cancel culture panel at Inferno Music Conference as well that made me angry and anxious because there were 3 white guys and 1 white woman on stage talking about, poor me, my acts don't get booked, people are boycotting them. And the woman, Merle from C22 Agency, whom I have also reached out to come onto the podcast, she was doing the good work of telling them how it's not cancel culture. Cancel culture does not exist because no one has been ruined by cancel culture. It's just people boycotting things they don't agree with, boycotting festivals, boycotting bands that don't align to their own values. And that's every person's right. It got me very angry, and I like to tell this story. At the end, I tried to help her out. I asked the question, okay, show me. If you are feeling so bad for your artists that are not being booked anymore and have been canceled, then show me. Where are the people losing their livelihoods and losing their jobs and not coming back to the stages because we have enough bands with perpetrators and abusers in them still filling up stadiums and such? Nobody was really able to answer my question. But afterwards, people actually came up to me and say thank you for asking the things that needed to be asked. And that's why I think that it's also so important to talk about these things, about how do you choose who to work with?
I think it's the benefit of having your own company and it being quite small. It's easier said than done for many people who have, for instance, financial partnerships or liabilities to shareholders, and then maybe they're doing cooperative festivals together with a different, bigger company and stuff like that. So it might be harder to address those issues or at least act by your conscience. For me, it is fairly easy because if an artist that I'm working with does something that's stupid or just like gets caught up in that and it turns out to be real, it would be easier for me to just say, okay, this is finished and let's move on. Because currently my company is employing 3 people, so myself and 2 others directly. Of course, we employ a lot of other people in events as like freelancers and such, and the musicians get paid. But like for us, the risks aren't that big. We're currently doing fine financially, so there's no such customer that like I wouldn't afford to lose. Some people can't say that same, like just saying this as a background thing there, not to be a hypocrite really. But that being said, I have perhaps a reputation on the dark side of the metal scene, at least locally in Finland, for being a part of canceling shows and taking action in that sense. And even though I've always tried to make sure that my company is apolitical, and this is for the reason that my company, we're only supplying artists and their art to buying customers. We're not asking our artists to share the same values with us. Obviously, if their actions or words would contradict our values in a big way, we could just end that partnership and that's it. But we're not telling them what to say in public or not say in public. And I'm just like counting on those people because most of them are my friends that we work with because we've been working together for years. I'm honestly believe in them and trust that they're not assholes. But if someone turns out to be, then it's a different story. And my show canceling history, I hate to say the word cancel. I haven't canceled a single show. I've just been like in the middle of a cancellation, sharing my thoughts with or passing a message with a club owner about the background of a certain artist that's come to light to me from a different promoter in a different venue, telling me that, hey, in your venue or the venue you're working with, you've booked the same tour and we're canceling the tour because of this and all that. But I'll spare the details because these are fresh things. I'm just saying that no matter what the backlash may have been bad from the people booking that show with me, I think I still have a clear conscience about those things because I'm 100% anti-fascist and anti-racist and anti-bully. So I don't have a tough time saying that out.
Yeah. And that's so important. To me personally, it's crucial to have the people I work with reflect the values that I live by. It's not about teaching other people. It's not about telling them what to do, but just standing by your values and by what you believe in. So if you are anti-fascism and you see that something is happening around you, then you should speak up. And the thing that a lot of people don't know when they say music should stay out of politics and musicians should not speak about politics. First of all, politics seep through every aspect of our lives, and money means a lot of power, which means when we support an artist by buying their music, merch, art, tickets, whatever it is, we are supporting their beliefs and we are supporting what they then do with their money, which politicians they then support, which movements they then support, etc., etc.
I agree 100%.
We don't only vote with our ballots at elections, we also vote with our money. And we do also vote with our money when we go to concerts and festivals.
Yeah. It's a hard thing for some people to understand probably is that, of course, we are obliged by contract when there's like less than 30 days until a show that we shouldn't cancel it without paying the fee. But other than that, we're not obliged to book everything. We can just, especially for private companies, like if I have a festival, I'm in charge of booking the lineup for it. And if I refuse to book a certain act because of political views and stuff, I can make that call. They can play somewhere else. Yeah. That's fine by me. I'm not going to touch that. But if I hear that a neo-Nazi band is playing at a club and then artists booked through my agency are playing the same club and have an issue with that, I think it is my responsibility to tell that club's owner, have you noticed? Because this is going to cancel a lot of shows from you. shows by decent artists playing decent music without those politics you're so eager to protect and be apolitical about. I think it's our responsibility also. Educating is a strong word, but spread the word. You're not a bad person for not unknowingly booking something suspicious or dodgy. Of course you're not. Like, everyone's busy in this industry. The profit margins are super small in booking agencies and venues as well. Especially these times, there might be no profit margin. Like, it's really understandable that accidents happen or people don't realize it. But when they are confronted about it, that's what shows the true colors. Sometimes when the show is like a week away and then you hear that there's something suspicious about one of the acts, it might be impossible to cancel it, especially to cancel it without having to pay, which might be crucial for the company's future in that sense. But in most cases, this is not the case. Most times it's people who just think maybe it's easier if I just shut my eyes and my ears and just as I let it pass. Because it's just people online complaining. I'm just going to let it pass and then move on. And that creates, it's a huge snowball that it might end up in an avalanche, really, because that's the way we open doors to extreme movements, to be present at regular spaces where regular people go to enjoy music and all that.
Yeah. And the music scene is only like a microcosm that reflects what's happening in the whole world.
Definitely, yeah.
So whatever we allow to happen within the metal industry and the metal scene is a reflection of what we are allowing to happen in the world. How in so many countries they are taking away human rights and terrible stuff like that. So we have to remain vigilant and point out those types of things to each other in case someone else didn't notice. And that was also a topic that I touched on a different panel where you were part of the panelists.
Yeah.
You were presenting your festival among 4 other festivals, if I remember correctly. And I asked, how are you people, as in you festival organizers, making sure that your festivals are safe spaces, free of hate, free of discrimination, free of sexism and all of that type of shit, so that we as festival goers can feel safe to forget the horrors of the world and just have a wonderful weekend with nice drinks like the one you're going to tell us about for your festival.
Yeah. And I love that you asked that question. So it was a panel of five different festivals from different corners of Europe, like from Turkey to Finland, Slovenia, Iceland, and Norway, having 8 minutes to share the story about their festival that they're really proud of. And then there was some time for questions from the crowd, and it was like kind of like a feel good panel, sort of like, okay, this is like, we're advertising now, this is my festival, there's going to be a skate park and there's going to be like all these cocktail bars and all this shit and great bands, look at it, buy tickets please. And then you're like, so how about the safe space and all that stuff? And then like, I was ready to shine because there was only one mic for the 5 of us, 5 men, by the way, 5 festival promoters. So it was like, it would have been impossible for like to be talking at the same time. So I was like ready to, I'm going to grab the mic and I'm going to shine in this room. I'm going to tell about all these cool fans we have in motion. But then the guy who was holding the mic was Matej from Tolminator Festival, which is a great festival in Slovenia. And his reply was just like, he just covered it all because they've taken really great.
It was really impressive. We talked about the awareness team and the single women only camping, like alone women only camping. It was really
all
cool,
that stuff,
like the
and
whole
also
strategy
in a boutique festival, because that's also like a 5,000 capacity festival. And I'm not saying it as like they shouldn't have that. I'm just saying that the resources are limited compared to major festivals where it might be easier to like, or the resources would just be different. Because of course, like all these things might cost money at first. Obviously, in the long run, I believe they will fund themselves by more people from different backgrounds being able to buy tickets and coming there next year as well, because it was a harassment-free zone. But yeah, so when he said that, instead of me like trying to shine after him, I was just like taking notes, like, okay, this is how we should be doing this. So kudos to Matej and Churt from Tolminator. Amazing guys, amazing festival.
Yeah. Yes, but you also have things in that sense.
Of course we do.
Safe space guidelines, etc.
Yeah, we do. They're going to be on screens and they're going to be throughout the area. We've also included those in our artist contracts that we send to artists that are playing there, and the artist info basically that we send. Also, it applies to all of our employees. And of course, there's going to be taken care of from the security side, that there's going to be a person to contact in case of an emergency like that, which I think should be standard policies at festivals in general, and they will be. I'm working with a great company together at ANKEA Festival, Alt Agency. They're good at that. They have a great festival in Tampere, which is more focused on pop and indie music, called Festival. Yeah, but they've been doing that for a while. It's easy to copy all that from there. And okay, of course, if I said ANKEA is my first own festival, we're at Coolhead right now, Coolhead Brew. It's a brewery where I've been hosting an event called Coolhead Live for the past 5 years. This is the 6th year running this summer. And we've also been taking good care of those things as well.
And the event is a series of concerts.
It is a series of concerts. So I couldn't call it a festival, but we organized this year. We have 8 back-to-back concerts in July with a capacity of 1,500 people per show, and in different genres of music. Our lineup is 50% male, 50% female currently. And that's not because it just happened that way. I think it's the fact that I only have one metal night, although one of the acts in that night is female fronted, Numento, a great band from this area. But for the rest of our shows, I think we only got one night that's all male for both artists. Other than that, I feel like this is a place where I've been able to like express all corners of my musical taste, because I'm not only into metal or prog metal or that stuff. I have a soft spot for Helsinki hip hop and adult oriented rock. So there's going to be plenty of that.
Nice. And since it's a brewery, you have, of course, done many collaborations.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I gotta grab this. So
not sponsored yet.
This is not, wait, am I paying for this interview? This is the first ever ANKEA beer. And for those only listening, I'm holding it in my hand right now, and like my saliva is everywhere already. I really want to open it. I'm not going to open it. So, okay, this Coolhead Live event takes place at this brewery. So obviously there's great microbrewery beer served at these shows. But when we started our own festival in Tampere, a separate one, I reached out to this brewery that I love so much and asked them if, unlike at every other major festival in this country, would it be possible that all the beer we sell at our festival is going to be micro brewery? And turns out it's possible.
Is it all from Coolhead, or is it from
it's all from
nice.
Coolhead. It's a nice collaboration. They have great products. This one here is salmiak licorice blackcurrant sour beer. So like a really cool candy
really
sour.
tasty.
And then there's going to be an ANKEA IPA and an ANKEA lager, definitely. Yeah, and that's a great collaboration. I'm bringing together a brewery that I've been working with live events for the past 6 years, and bringing it together with a new festival that we're starting. Purely the reason is because I like their products, and I believe people will as well. So I think it's great to have festivals that, like, even when the artists are different, obviously, but also that the selection in the bars is going to be different. A lot of people select their bars when they go out on a Friday night in the city. They select the bar by the beer selection or the wine list or whatever. It's not only like you need a living room with the cheapest drinks. People who are enthusiastic about beer or cocktails, and we have the best cocktail bar in Tampere, Tiima, having their pop-up at our festival, which is like the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
Because those cocktails are pretty fucking mean. And so are the mocktails. And there's going to be an alcohol-free bar in that festival. Okay. Of course, alcohol-free options are available at every bar, but just like the fact that we're going to be serving, for those who don't drink for one reason or the other, there's going to be a great selection of alcohol-free, fancy drinks as well. So, and the same applies for food. It's going to be something for all diets. Some of the best street food there is in Tampere, and I'm really proud of it already in advance.
Nice.
And this is hugely thanks to my partner in crime, Marco, who's a central figure in Tampere nightlife in that sense, and who is really well connected to these restaurants and cocktail bars that wish to be open at the festival.
So stay tuned for reviews of all of that coming up in June.
You should do live reviews of the cocktails.
Of the cocktails and all the vegan food and all of the good stuffs. And of course the shows. I'm really looking forward to seeing those bands. Yes. Thank you, Sami. This was a really cool talk.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah. I think otherwise we'll stay here forever. And I have places to be.
Okay, cool. Thank you. It was a pleasure. My pleasure to be here.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe to the Bleeding Metal podcast here on YouTube or anywhere else where you listen. Tell your friends, bring them over, and I'll see you next time with an artist interview. Bye-bye.
Bye.